All right, part 3 of the series workshop is about blocks to emotional honesty. So basically, emotional honesty, when I think about it, what it comes to mind is that I'm always honest all the time with everyone about how I feel, which make me go, but are we supposed to be tactful? How do you know? What's the difference between being honest and being tactful? Like, I'm gonna these are some of the blocks that comes up for me. What if the other person doesn't want to hear what I have to say? And do I still say what I feel, or do I like? These are some of the like scenarios. These are just two very mild blocks, just to give you an example. But imagine that scenario where you're always being honest about how you're feeling. You're not being accurate necessarily about what you think is going on, but you're just being honest. What comes up for you for blocks? Like, oh yeah, no, I am not going to do that because what comes up for you? Right?
I am not going to do that because I will be needy. I will be a demand on somebody else.
Okay. Well, one is being needy, which is you're kind of exposing how needy you are feeling, right? That's like,
Right.
okay, that's
Yes.
embarrassing. But
Yes.
then you also said, if I'm being emotionally honest, then that means somebody else is going to feel as if I'm asking them for something. Is that what you mean? Or that you're actually saying, no, I really want you to do this
They
for
have
me?
to meet my need.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, but there is this, well, here's the thing. Emotionally, you're already projecting that anyway. So if you're speaking of it, at the very least, you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna own that feeling now. By speaking of it, maybe I'll actually start to be honest, and I can start to take ownership for it. And sometimes I check with the people around me, going, "Here's what I'm feeling, and is that what you guys are feeling?" And some of them will say, "No, I had no idea that's how you're feeling." I'm like, "Oh, good." When I'm at work, I'm working at a typical place where you're supposed to be very tactful and professional, and they say, "How are you doing?" And I go, "Well, if you asked, well, I'm irritable and I'm moody and this and that." And at the very least, if you ask how I'm doing, I will tell you how I'm doing. And they'll be like, "Oh, well, I had no idea you were feeling that way." Okay, good. So it's being owned. But some experiments to play with. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really good example, Brent. Do you have other examples, Brent? Other reasons, other blocks?
Mm. What's interesting, I was just texting with a friend here in Burkeville, and we're both playing the violin with the same teacher. And
Okay.
normally I wouldn't speak about my emotions, but she started off, and it was like going in a playground where I'm not comfortable. So I
Yeah.
just, so I responded with my emotion, my real truth, my emotional answer. And it went back and forth. And then so maybe I'm looking for that others are the same. Like I don't want to see any differences between myself and others.
Okay. So you don't want to feel awkward.
I don't want to feel awkward.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the feeling. Awkwardness. Yeah.
Yeah. And it
One
took a
person's
little
honest.
longer. Sorry. It
One
took
person's
longer
honest.
to
Nobody else is.
communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took longer, and it's just awkward. It's awkward for me.
Yep.
It's not somewhere, it's not it takes too long, and it's like what my mother and sister do. It's not what I do.
Yes. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And
Somewhere I have it that it's not me.
speaking of that, another block we have is that when other people are emoting, they're not being emotionally honest. They just their emotions. But we think like, is that what I'm going to look like if I'm being honest? And
Yeah.
that's exactly who I don't want to look like. So I'm not going to say anything. So we have to like go through this experiment of figuring out how am I being honest and owning my emotion versus projecting and blaming. How do I figure that out? And you have to kind of go through the experiment to figure out what's the difference. Yeah. But yeah, I have grew up with people who are emotionally very unresponsible and use emotion as an excuse to hurt other people. So then I don't want to be that person. So I'm going to be very stoic and poker faced, and you never know what I'm feeling because I don't want to look like that person. So in that case, the emotion is embarrassment. I don't want to feel that I'm embarrassing. Is that what I look like? That's embarrassing. So that's the emotion I'm trying to avoid. Yeah. Okay. Is Jill still available to answer? Because Jill has disappeared there for a while. Somebody else want to go first until Jill can come back? What are some of your blocks? Yes.
Well, just that I need to be polite, and
Yeah.
and so then I'm like, okay, if I'm not polite, then what am I? I'm unkind, and I'm not
Yes.
a nice person. I remember you
Yes.
saying like, oh, I'm working on not like I'm not a nice person, and so I might not be nice, and like
Yeah.
and so now I'm like, oh yeah, okay, so that's what that is. And then I'm like, okay, so then if I'm not polite, then I'm unkind. If I'm unkind, I'm not a nice person. If I'm not a nice person, I'm a bitch. And
Yeah.
so, and then I got into like, okay, well then I've used that to manipulate and have power. Like, oh, now I'm a bitch. Like now, and then I go into the opposite of I'm polite, I'm a bitch, but they're still not, neither of them are
Neither is real.
and so and I was like, okay, so like no more people pleasing. And then if I'm not people pleasing, then what am I? I'm displeasing.
Yes.
And so then I'm unliked, and yeah. And then also I wrote what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking. Like trying to be emotionally honest and be like, okay, then like what am I feeling? But then I'm often just more honest about what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I'm like, I'm still not being honest about what I'm actually feeling.
Because I don't know what I'm feeling.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But also that, in certain scenario, you will, based on your addiction, like what you just said, I want to be seen as a nice person. I don't want to be seen as unkind. So if I have that addiction, then whatever the filters are around being nice around certain group of people, I'm going to automatically take that on. So another block is the addiction. I still want to be seen as a nice person. And that's me, by the way, also. Kind of recently been feeling into like, oh, but I want to be seen as a nice person. It's like, oh, come on, do we have one more? One more, like Selena, one more. Okay, fine. Another thing to look at. Yeah, thank you, Jessica. And Jill?
So I have a block to being emotionally, because I'm going to be attacked. That's that goes right back to the first set of questions. I'm going to be attacked for it. I cannot at this point in time in a conversation stand up for myself or others. I'm still, that fear is still a really big block. And I've had in the past, or in the recent past, had a number of situations where God's like, here's another situation to try and stand up for yourself or for others. You're not going to do it. Okay, here's another situation. Right. So I'm working on it, but that's my big block.
One of my block with my own children is that if I'm emotionally honest, then I'm going to lose relationships. And I don't want to lose that relationship right now. Yeah. And so at least I'm honest with God about that. I'm like, nope, I don't want to lose that relationship. That's where I'm at. So yeah, but I probably will end up losing a relationship because it's inauthentic. Yeah, because I'm lying. So then, the thing you fear end up happening anyway, right? You're like, I will be attacked. Well, it's already happening anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I got to keep reminding myself. Like, oh, this is happening anyways. So just do it.
Let's do it. Selena.
I think for me, rejection, particularly for my kids, if I'm honest. My daughter, she just says, "Can't you just be my mom?"
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to be that mom anymore. And I'm probably not being a very great job yet of being this emotionally honest mom. So I'm somewhere in the middle of that, you know? So it's, yeah. So rejection, yeah. You know, and having your kids just dump you, you know, because you're too much work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people
Yeah.
don't know where to go with that. Like they feel awkward and they
Oh,
make
yeah.
us feel awkward.
Just be my
and-
mom. Yeah, just be my mom. And it's hard because you're loving kind of what's happening in yourself.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of a demand for them to love it too.
Yeah,
they
that's
don't.
right.
But they
That's right.
don't. Not at all.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Casey, I'm surprised you haven't answered. I was like, Casey will be all over this one. She'll have so many.
Yeah, probably the facade thing from part 1 is like hitting me hard.
Biting you. Oh God.
It's hitting me hard. I'm like, no.
Yes.
Which is probably a huge block because, to emotional honesty, because I clearly really like the idea that I'm a loving person.
Yeah.
And so that's probably for this session today, for me, that's probably my biggest block to being emotionally honest. Yeah.
Because I want to be seen as a loving person.
Yeah. Desperately. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We've got some big bites. We got them. Okay. And you know what? You've been honest about it here. You've been willing to honestly at least speak about it and let it start moving through. I mean, come on, give yourself some credit there. We're gonna keep having stuff getting exposed. We're halfway through that right now, or more than halfway. I was given a visual that emotional honesty are literally the steps that we climb on to progress. Like if you're not emotionally honest, you're not even on the steps. You haven't even found the road to walk on. So that's how essential they are, and that our guides are so pleased that we're having this conversation right now, and that they're trying to like convey just how much good there is by doing this, but we're kind of not feeling it. Don't want to feel it. Like I just get, must be nice for you. At least you all are 1 week got it on your way, and must be nice. I'll see you when I get there. Yeah. Okay, so some of the questions we can ask to receive some help from our guides is, what experiments can I do to start being more emotionally honest? You can say emotionally honest with myself, emotionally honest with God, emotionally honest with other people. I have to say, man, like the word just got taken out of my head again. Wow, so many blocks. Yes, one of my biggest block in being emotionally honest has been my self-attack, my self-abuse. Because when I'm being honest and then therefore expose what I'm really feeling, what my real motivations are, I abuse myself. Like, oh, you just want power and dominate people, and that's what's really going on in there. That's who you really are in there. I treat myself very badly, and that's taken a lot of work to become sensitive to that self-abuse and to stop that abuse, to stop the attack, and to kind of create a moratorium, like no self-attack, period. And only then are my wounded selves more willing to expose themselves, because I will not attack them. So that is a pretty big block. Like, how are you going to treat yourself when you are honest with yourself and therefore expose what's really going on? How are you going to treat you? A lot of unkindness because we internalize the environmental abuses from our childhood, and which basically the facades are the one abusing the hurt self, is what I've learned. The facade self is abusing the hurt self. And the hurt self is the one, it's also the one that is, the one that's doing the damage. So I have a desire to dominate. That is a hurt self that wants to dominate. And I need to be honest that that's how I'm feeling, and I need to own my emotions. But if I'm going to attack myself for exposing that in myself, for discovering that, that's a big block. So I think the first set of emotional honesty is with yourself, but then it's going to depend on how you're going to treat yourself when you find out. Yeah. So, okay. So what experiments can I do to start being honest? Maybe just start with myself. And then what experiments can I do to start being honest with God and my guides? Right there, you're going to get so much benefit. Then you can ask, what are some blocks I need to work through in order to be more honest? And then the last question you can ask is, what support can I get and ask for from my guides and God to be more honest? Because we have help that we don't even know to ask for that can help us. So let's take a moment to get some answers and then we'll come back. Welcome back, everyone. I just want to acknowledge the heavy, terrible feelings some of us are feeling right now. Just want to take a moment to acknowledge that, we're doing some brand new things, old brand new things, while in the middle of pandemics and weather changes and people are more addicted than ever. And, we're doing new things here. We're trying to push against lots of boulders and be proud. We're all adventuring on some pretty cool big stuff. Someday we'll look back and be very, very, very proud that in the midst of all of it, you started changing your soul, you started to change your direction, and your will got developed very, very strongly. Like we have reasons to be proud. We have reasons to feel upliftment. Emotions are heavy, and then some days you're going to shake them off, and then when somebody else is coming along, you kind of be like, oh, you be a role model of like, but you feel so much lighter after, you will survive it. And we're doing some new stuff here, and very, 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 very small minority. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. So it's okay. Temporary. Okay, so the questions were, what experiments can I do to start being more emotionally honest? You can break it down, being honest with yourself, being honest with your guides and God, being honest with other people. I didn't ask with other people, I just stuck with the first two parts. And then what are some blocks I need to work through in order to be more honest? And what support can I get and ask for from my guides and God to be more honest? Because this is us being in harmony with God, and we have a lot of help. Like they're just gonna be falling over themselves to help us with the stuff. It's there. So we just need to know that it's there and that we can ask. Who would like to start to share? Casey, there she is.
Just before I answer the questions, I just want to say thank you for saying that about we should be feeling proud, because I was kind of stuck in that heaviness for a second until you said that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yes, this is heavy. Yes, it feels really gross, and I'm still doing it. Yeah. So that feels like, oh yeah, okay. I'm looking
and this is you alone, or maybe 100 of us here with 20 plus billion cloaking souls, and 8 billion human beings all, going one way because they don't know, or
Yeah.
most of us just don't know. We just don't know.
Yeah.
Didn't know. So, it's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
So,
And yeah, go ahead.
sorry. No, sorry, go ahead.
Well, we just finished it. Selena and I just finished up the book, The Gate of Heaven. And there were a lot of phrases in there about, the turning point. Things can turn on very small details. Like you just a sesame seed of a tiny little idea, and it'll take you a long time to someday look back and realize how significant that one little thing was. Like big changes happen on small shifts, small little things, small little turns and choices. You don't see the significance of it in the moment. That gave us a lot of comfort in that book.
Cool.
A lot of faith. Yeah, go ahead, Casey.
So I really only got one experiment because this is
Nice.
clearly the most important one for me right now.
Okay.
And I think it's because I keep wanting to skip this step. It's acknowledging that I don't want to do it.
Yes.
I have to acknowledge that
Yes.
I don't want to do it first. Every single time, every
Perfect.
single event that comes up that's new, seemingly new or different, I don't want to do it, and then engage the tantrum and then continue on.
Yes, the layer has to be released. Exactly. Nice.
Yeah. And
Very
I'm like, no,
nice.
let's just go to the emotions.
No. You can't. You constantly fight yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's like keep bumping into this jelly that bounces you back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's your past experience when you do let yourself feel, I don't want to do this? Then what happens?
Well, over the course of this last year, there's been a few poignant ones that it's interesting because I remember a couple of them where I drop into like despair or helplessness or hopelessness.
Okay.
Yet I feel like I have more energy.
Yeah.
Because I'm not fighting myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Go
Awesome.
figure.
Yeah. Thank you. Exactly. Thank you.
And
the other parts?
Yeah. And then so the two biggest blocks, thank you for saying self-attack, because I was gently nudged. Self-judgment.
Yeah.
Which you and I've talked about that a lot in session. But one that hasn't come up for me in a while is that I'm not redeemable.
Yeah.
That's actually a really big block for me right now.
Yeah.
Which the feeling of that ushered me into the third question of what support I can get. And I'm not getting any support right now because that feeling, that block is so strong.
Yes.
The I'm not redeemable is so strong, I can't connect at all.
Okay.
And I haven't been for a while. And so then I was shown an image of how I am with children.
Okay.
And how patient and loving and compassionate I am with children. And that my guides really want me to see myself as the child.
Okay. Thank you. And maybe that feeling of I feel I'm beyond redemption, just get rid of it. Just feel it.
Yeah.
It's awful, but I mean, obviously, of course, that got absorbed.
Yeah.
It's such a solid, long emotion, generation after generation. Wow. And yeah, it's interesting how when you have that false belief in you, you don't even think to ask, because why would anybody want to help? See how it cuts you off from progressing? So false beliefs got to be released. Like, there's just no room. Yeah, thank you. Selena.
Yeah, I've been engaging more experiments lately, so that are more motivated by desire, even if it's an intellectual desire.
Yeah.
So what I find, if I start to really passionately start thinking about something being possible, whether it's an improved relationship or some spirit work that I want to do with people, and if I'm asking my guides in that process, what can I do to do this? What, and then a block, and then an emotion will come up that I feel far more willing to look at it because I have this goal, this thing that I want,
Yes.
you know, this
Yes.
better relationship or this, or this work that I want to do. So I find it much less, I'm much less likely to not engage it, like or put it away, go, oh, yeah, can't do that one.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm jealous, or I still have some emotions around family incest and stuff like that. Okay, what are they? You
Yeah,
know, so
let's
that
go. Let's do
I
it.
can help this person, because obviously I can't help them in this spirit thing that I'm doing with them if their soul progression into their transition, if I have this block.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
Beautiful.
kind of motivating me more. It's somehow, and one of my blocks it's really come up with that, to be more honest, is when a block comes up that's like my mom. You know,
Oh.
my mom had this emotion, and I found it very unattractive in her and very hurtful,
Oh,
and very,
gosh.
and then I do it,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, I can't believe it. What, my mom does
Yeah.
that. Anything but that. I'm really good with stuff that's not like my mom.
I
But when
know.
it's like my mom, it's like,
Ugh.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
But I'm getting better at being okay with, of course I'm like my mom.
Right. Because you absorbed her emotions. Like,
Yeah,
what
of
else was
course,
going to
yeah.
happen?
It's going to be ugly, you know, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
But I
yeah.
like that your idea of like, if I have a desire at the other side of it, it'll keep me going through the
It
blocks.
does
Where I
make
see
a
the
difference.
blocks,
Yeah.
that's just another block.
Whether it's an improved relationship with your kids or your husband, or something you're doing mediumship wise or spiritually, it's just something. It's like something comes up that, or you have an experience that's really inspiring. You go, oh, I want more of that. How can I attract more of that?
That's right. I
Right.
really want that
And-
outcome.
Right. Yeah. So that I can so I know I have to get through blocks to have more of that. So that helps
Yes.
me. Yeah. To build on
Perfect.
desires. Yeah.
Desire is it. Once you have
Yeah.
a desire, if you want to change, desire is, once you have the desire, it'll just pull you through.
Mhm,
Yeah, that's
mhm,
beautiful.
mhm.
Thank you, Selena. So were those some of the answers you got?
Oh, I have one more thing. If you want to start feeling really good about what we're doing, like if you're
Yeah.
feeling like, oh, it's so hard and it's so heavy, so channel Martin Luther.
Oh,
Highly
my
recommend it.
God,
Highly recommend
please.
it. Because he's
Yeah.
like totally into us.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Get a little
that's-
feeling off of
he's-
him, you'll be good for a while.
He is,
Yeah.
yeah, one of the most beautifully disturbing channeling. Yeah, I was disturbed for a very long time.
When
In
you
a
were
good way.
disturbed? Oh no, I was
In a good
not
way. It was
disturbed.
like
in a good way.
haunting.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah.
Haunting.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If you
Yeah.
successfully connect, you'll be feeling it for days. Yeah.
His devotion towards God make you go, oh, that is
Oh.
not what I'm like at all.
Yeah.
And he was,
yeah.
he started a
Yeah.
religion that was turned out to be incorrect. So he has all this
Yeah.
remorse and sadness and all of that.
All that,
And
yet,
he's a celestial
yeah,
spirit, and you're like,
yeah,
wow, what a person.
yeah.
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 Thank you.
Yeah.
It
Byron.
sounds like he was very honest, like emotionally honest when he, yeah, maybe near the end of his life or in spirit.
Oh no, now he's a celestial spirit. But I think after he passed, he realized that he taught something, especially about women, like he has made a mistake and that he
Wow.
had to repent. And there are thousands of people, millions of people maybe that he now has to like,
Wow.
yeah. But when you
Oh.
feel him now, it's just,
Yeah.
his devotion towards God is wow.
Wow.
I mean, that's
amazing.
what I felt when I channeled him maybe 2 years ago, and Selena had just done it, so you must have had a more fresh experience.
Awesome.
Okay, Ernest, what did you
So
get?
I think what experiment can I do to start being more emotionally honest?
Yeah.
I think admit where I'm not, or allow myself to see where I'm not. Feel it, feel the fear, I think I like what Casey said, acknowledge where I don't want to feel it, have the temper tantrum. And see where I'm different, know that I'm different, that there's a belief, a mistaken, so remove the false belief. Like like with with a relationship with my sister, you know, there's been times like I really need to really face that how terrified I am to be emotionally honest with her, because in the past I've felt like I needed that relationship. And so I was willing to, you know, anyway, I needed something from that relationship, and I would sabotage it, and there would be a fallout from that, which would be she wouldn't speak to me or see me for a couple of years, or, you know, so you know, to even go there is so I'm different now, and I don't need that. I know I don't need that relationship. I have other relationships, and I have a relationship with God and my spirit guides, and so I'm different. So that's a false belief. I don't need that relationship. You know, I'm not holding that belief any longer. And so I once I admit that false belief, it changes how I am. And I can be more emotionally honest, but I'm still stuck with that. I'm terrified. So I really am going to have to go into that. Even though I'm different, I'm still stuck with an emotion there that's not been properly, you know, thoroughly felt.
It's a child's emotion. It's still frozen because ultimately it's all about what emotion you have that is frozen, that's got to move. Whatever age you got created, it's just stuck. It's stuck. But it's got to move. And when it moves, you're going to feel like a kid. So we still want to negotiate with the emotion going, but I've changed, I've grown up and things have changed. Come on, can you just go away?
And go away that I even have to do this experiment, you know, like when I've done experiments before, they've gone awry, they've gone badly. Like I do not want to do another experiment with my sister. It means that we will not be talking, and we will, so but if I'm any different than this, I have to stay like this. In the outcome. You're still invested in the outcome. So one of the things about emotional honesty is the emotional honesty and your soul flowing and you becoming you again is the end result. No matter how people react, because people will react badly. That will happen. Jesus has many, many, many stories where he just said one truth and that's it. People never spoke to him again. One truth about, say, one facade, and then done. Never spoke to them. Years and years of love and care gone, just because somebody spoke one truth. So, you know, that will happen. But then if you can see how, when we saw in the first part, we lost us by not being honest. Like that's what we've lost, us. We're small, we're afraid, we don't feel our own energies. Like that's a huge loss. So that is your game. And you'll actually find the literal steps to start walking back on again. So, but as long as we're invested in the outcome, then we know that, okay, those addictions are still there and that's okay. I still want something for my sister. And another block we tend to have about emotional honesty is that, you know, am I owning my emotion or am I venting? I'm going to tell you some truth about you and this and that and this and that and this and that. It's like, well, you're kind of just dumping on me right now. And how do you know, how do you get to a place? For me, I like to have control. So I want to be like, let me process my emotion and then I'll tell you what I feel. That's not being honest. That is me still controlling the outcome. I'm still invested in that. I still want to have control over my emotions so that I'm not vulnerable. Which is it's still control. The control addiction shows up very strongly around being emotionally honest. And I'm really, really afraid and really want to manage how the other person's going to react. Very invested in it.
I haven't even started cracking it, that one yet. All I've done so far is identify it. That in itself was like, whoa, my addiction is pretty strong, control. And over again, I keep denying my control addiction. It is very slippery. So those are some of the blocks. Did you have another part of the answer, Bert?
Oh, yeah, I think, yeah, I think just what support, I think is just ask for the support from God and my guides, and help me move forward, and
Okay.
I realize with what you just said that it's way more complex. Like it's pretty complex.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
This is this is kind of where we actually start poking around looking for more issues to work through.
Yeah. I think it's
We're
about,
being proactive right now.
yeah, like like not needing people to like me. That's a huge one right there. Yeah. Not needing to be liked.
Oh, I want it. I love it. It's so beautiful. I desperately want it right now.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
That's awesome.
It's such a lovely feeling. I drop into the addiction so naturally that I feel that it's my nature. Can't even recognize going, oh no, right there, I want to be liked. Shoot, isn't that an addiction? No, it's not. Just shut up.
Yeah.
You know we're gonna come back to this one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every couple of days a new issue get exposed. It's like, oh, I'm still just doing the survey. I don't know when I'm gonna actually get into knocking some stuff off the park here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, others who wants to share what they got? So I got, so what experiment can I do to start being more emotionally honest? Is to let in God's tenderness. So when I'm being honest, I expect to be punished. I don't know what I expect, but the first part, the answer from the first part was, when I'm honest, God get to be very, very tender with me, which was surprising. So to do experiment where I can see God's tenderness. So I can ask God, can you show me how you're loving me right now while I'm being honest, so that I can see how I'm being treated, and that I need to let God's tenderness in. I need to have a conscious awareness of that, because it will heal me somehow. And then the blocks I need to work through is that I think God will hate me for what I'm exposing. And so I'm encouraged to ask God, how do you feel now that I've exposed this? How do you feel about what I've just exposed? So that I can feel God's response and again, rewrite some of the false beliefs I have about it, release it. And what support can I get and ask from my guides and God? To keep asking, what's the cause of this feeling? For example, when I had the feeling of wanting to, was it power? It was one, I feel like the power addiction, I finally got through the last bit. But I asked, what's the cause of this feeling? Why do I want this feeling? And then I was immediately shown the circumstance that created it. And I go, oh, I can't be mad at myself for that. That was awful. So that engages my empathy. And then to ask, which I have not asked before, to ask, what will it be like once this pain is gone? What will it be like once this block or addiction is gone? That would be an interesting experiment. And also to ask my guides, what was it like when you went through that? When you went through what I'm going through right now? I don't like to ask. I've been nudged many times to ask, but I'm like, I don't want to know that my guides went through this kind of pain. That's going to traumatize me. I love them. They're wonderful. I don't want to know that they went through horrible things. So I refuse to ask, but they're encouraging me to experiment asking that question. Because when I ask these questions and experiment with them, my probably myself, but the way I treat myself would change. Probably. So those were the answers I got. So there you go. Some clues, some experiments to go with as we go ahead. And hopefully we can shake off this heaviness we're all feeling right now. I'm assuming there are a lot of spirits around us that are a little bit concerned or panicked or afraid. And but nothing wrong, nothing will happen to them. Nothing bad will happen when you're being emotionally honest. Like nothing, you know, from our guides and God, nothing will go wrong. So I think that that's probably one of the anxieties we're all experiencing right now. And so the questions that I ask God and guides are, God, can you show me how you're loving me right now in this moment as I am being honest with you? And God, how do you feel now that I've exposed this darkness about myself? And what's the cause of this feeling, this addiction I have, this feeling I have, this anger I have towards somebody? What's the cause of this feeling? What will it be like once this pain is gone, or this addiction is gone, or this false belief is gone? As well as, what was it like for my guide when they went through a similar awakening, when they went through a similar correction phase? Because, you know, our guides were chosen for us because they have gone through similar injuries. So they can share what it was like for them to go through it. And for somehow that's going to help us in some way. These are questions I usually don't ask. I've never asked to feel God's tenderness. I never asked how God feels about what I've just exposed. And I have asked, what's the cause of this feeling? And that always brings about empathy from me. I give myself a break for whatever addiction I have. And then, but these other two questions I've not asked. So I'm curious to ask. It's a fun experiment, probably. The idea that God is tender, I kind of want to fluff it away. It's like, so touchy feely. What's the point of tenderness? That's not strong. It's kind of like all soft and gentle, and nothing will get done around here if you're all soft and gentle. And just, you know, my childhood environment right there. So it's the idea that God is tender and soft. It's like bizarre. I just can't wrap my head around it. So, but and yet, that was completely missing in my childhood, unless I blocked out my grandfather, who was very gentle. So there we go. Some questions, some experiments to try out, and then maybe when we're all feeling a bit braver and stronger, we'll come back to do this workshop again, and maybe we'll be honest while we're doing it. Stop being honest with each other. So I'm trying to do this at my clinic. I'm trying to, like, with the other practitioners there, it's like being honest with them with, this is how I feel about you, which is not accurate, but honest. Trying to model, trying to move past that discomfort of, like, because then you trigger each other and then off you go feeling and stuff. It's quicker when you trigger each other like that. I mean, Selena knows that. She's in a mediumship group with Robin. Holy smoke, that place is hopping when Robin gets into one of those moods. So, but a lot of growth happened, a lot of change happened through that. So it'd be wonderful to create that kind of opportunity for each other. You know, with a close friend, with somebody that you can just at least start doing that with each other and get past that discomfort. And knowing that whatever you feel, you're not making somebody else wrong. They're not making you responsible for their feeling. You're off the hook. You're so freeing. Okay,